Welcome back. Now, if you're a fan of animation or just comedy in general, then you'll be familiar with the phenomenon that is Aardman Animation Studios and its unique stop-motion style. Based in Bristol, it's the home of Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run, Early Man and the woolly wonder that is Shaun the Sheep.
Now Shaun is back in his latest movie, and two of the main men behind it are here, producer Paul Cooley and co-director Richard Phelan.
Good morning, gentlemen. Before we have a chat with the lads, let's take a clip from the film, a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon.
Come on. Wow.
You've got laughter in our gallery, which is a good sign, guys, isn't it? And laughter in studio. Good morning to you both.
Morning,
Good morning.
For anyone who isn't familiar, we need to start there, I think, just in case we're educating some new viewers of Shaun the Sheep. Tell us about the concept, first of all.
Do you want to?
Go back in time.
I can do that.
Who's going to pick up?
So after we made the first film, you know, the first film was quite a low concept idea. It was all about Shaun, who's a farm animal, lives in this kind of world, you know, with his fellow sheep, and they go out into the outside world and find out what it's like to live in the big city. This time we wanted to make something bigger and higher concept, and so we landed on the idea of aliens and kind of introducing them to aliens, because farms and aliens seem to go together.
Yeah,
so in this film,
it's that old nutshell.
Yeah. So in this film, Shaun meets this character Lula, who you've just seen.
Yes.
And has to help her try and find a spaceship that she's lost.
So we've a sci-fi element in the middle of...
Big sci-fi elements. So this kind of big sci-fi kind of world descends, you know, into the world of Mossy Bottom.
Fantastic.
We were talking before we came on air in terms of the work that goes into making this movie, because it's beyond a commitment, really, isn't it? Start to finish, you're looking at how long?
So it takes roughly 3 years to make the whole film.
Because that sequence we just watched, which obviously there's more before and after it, that sequence took a year to shoot.
Yeah, so the supermarket scene took a whole year to shoot. So there's just 2 animators in there. So they do roughly 1.5 seconds a day.
Wow.
So you shoot 1.5 seconds a day.
Now, Richard, I'm going to ask you lots of silly questions about animation, right? Because this is what you do and you know it inside out. But for the rest of us, right, we haven't a clue how it's done. So will you pare it back? Because obviously the animation world has changed with the digital era as well. So how is it done?
Well, the CGI or stop motion is still the same. It's still 12 frames per second. So we do 12 photographs and then we play them back at 24 frames per second. It gives the illusion of movement, and so...
So that's what we're talking about when you talk about stop motion.
Stop motion.
So we just take the puppet and we just sort of move it and move it.
So it's photograph.
Photograph, yeah.
All of a sudden then it makes sense why shooting a chaotic sequence like that
takes so long.
Takes so long.
Yeah, and then you have all the added kind of elements to that, things like you know, you build a set and you can only use that one set, because each set we build takes up space, takes a lot of time to do. So it's a huge puzzle, isn't it, actually, putting the film together. So you've got the creative side of trying to execute these scenes, and then we have a production team who are trying to work out how do you physically shoot it without taking, you know, forever. Because, you know, if you work out the person
it's so different to, you know, a traditional feature film. I've been on the sets of feature film where we've shot 3.5 pages in a day, and you think, God, this is torturously slow. But you're doing 1.5 seconds.
So it's like a sort of mini... It's a film studio in miniatures. There's 30 units, and so we'll go into the supermarket unit, or we'll go to the underground base, or the International Space Station. So we're just seeing all the animators all day long. So it's like,
So it takes a certain type of person, producer, director, to work on animated movies, ultimately. And they have a special kind of patience, I'd imagine.
I think so. You know, as a producer, it's a slightly different thing for me, because my obsession is the story. I don't have to do what Richard and Will, who directed the film,
have a handy
do. They go. Yeah, I do in a way, because I can sit there and see things kind of appear and talk about them and criticise, which is what you
offer opinion.
Lots of opinions. Yeah. But these guys had to physically go, and they're in different bits of the film at any one time. So you might have 30 sets, as Richard said, going, and one's from kind of early in the film, one's from much later, and you've got to juggle all that. Got to work
the coordination, the planning that must be mind-boggling.
The support crew is amazing. So we have coordinators and floor managers and all sorts. And it's just every second is accounted for. So like they literally follow us around and tell us where to go. So
isn't it incredible the success that Aardman'S Studios has become? Like it is world renowned.
Yes,
it is the best in the business, and it's known as that across the world.
I think so, yeah. And for me, the attraction of moving there, I moved from Los Angeles. I was working in the film industry, and moved to Bristol to join Aardman.
Yeah, which is fairly similar.
Yeah, it was.
I filmed in both. I filmed in LA and Bristol. They're very similar.
Very, very similar. And it was. It's that, they have this amazing kind of storytelling ethos and kind of comedy ethos, which really appealed to me. And the films do travel. Everywhere we go,
they're universal.
People get excited.
Well, I was asking you during the break, Paul, the core audience is probably a 5-year-old, but ultimately there are much younger and much older viewers loving the content.
And I think it's one of those odd things when if you look at it at face value, people go, well, it's a kind of silent comedy and it's for kids. It's not, and I don't just say that because I produced it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Genuinely, the stories kind of work at every level, and it's something we work incredibly hard at, isn't it? To try and make these stories engage audiences, whether you're 90 or 3 years old, you can track it and you get different things out of the film. And I think that's been borne out so far, what we're seeing. The film's out now, go and see it. But, we're getting that from audiences that they love what they're seeing.
I'd imagine the amount of detail in the script is phenomenal, because you would think logically, because there's no dialogue, the script is probably on the back of a beer mat. But I'd imagine that the script is hugely detailed.
No, it is. It's like a small book. So there's no dialogue. You're right, but it's sort of like it's all descriptions of the scenes and the characters and their intention and what's happening.
What every character is doing at every given moment. Yeah. Because that has to be given to the animator.
Yeah. So then
because it's all about whatever Shaun's doing, but what's Lula doing in the background?
Yeah. So we have a story department. So they storyboard the whole film, so then we can sort of watch it.
So I was going to say, is it storyboarded in images or words or both?
So it starts off as a script, and then they storyboard it, and there's like 250,000 storyboards are done.
Holy
and
moly!
It's just screen to
I don't
screen
think my
and screen
hand can
and
take
tested.
Million storyboards.
Yeah.
They're not up on a wall somewhere, are they? They're all digital, I presume.
They're all digital now,
We sometimes put things on the wall to kind of see it, but we watch the film over and over and over again, and you're constantly kind of changing it. So that's the great thing.
Honing the story and sort of making sure the gags are working right, and that you understand, because there's no dialogue, what Shaun is thinking and how Lula feels and all these sorts of moments. So,
but it's almost a throwback to the Harold Lloyd, Buster Keaton days.
Yeah.
Well, the Charlie Chaplin.
Buster Keaton was one of the major influences. Actually, Richard Starzak, who developed the series from Nick Park's character, took Buster Keaton. And because Shaun is quite a deadpan, it's quite difficult to get emotion out of
He's
that
expressionless, isn't
character.
he?
But actually, our animators do. That's what's extraordinary every time I watch it.
That's the genius of it.
That is the gift, isn't it? Yeah. And the reviews that you've received, I heard John Callagher giving it a 5-star review during the week. But interesting points that you get from, was it The Telegraph, who said that this is actually very relevant for where we are, where Britain is certainly in the Brexit negotiations.
Well, I think what they were saying was it's just a way of kind of reminding ourselves what a great, country we live in, and that we should all kind of be friends. That's one of the kind of main, concepts of the.
Yeah, where do we lose that from when we're sitting watching that as kids?
And so it's where we are. I think that is one of the things we're really proud of, is that it's a film that kind of unites families. I honestly, that for me, over the years working on Shaun, that's one of the greatest kind of gifts it gives.
Well, listen, so continued success. Can't wait to see the movie, and tell Shaun we said hello, won't
yes,
you?
indeed.
Yeah, you can talk.
I love your badges.
He has his back to me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Listen, thanks for coming in,
We'd never guess your big children at heart.
No, not at all.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, fellas.
Now, Richard and Paul are appearing at the Dublin Animation Festival in Dunleary this afternoon. Check out DublinAnimationFilmFestival.com for all of the information.
Now, and the Shaun the Sheep movie Farmageddon is in cinemas now.